Are we recording? It's been a while. I'm nervous. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Omar Almodovar. Today is November 25th, 2025, and we're in Arizona. Last time I was here was the last time that I recorded an episode of the podcast, and it's been over a year. It was last October. It's November now, and there's a lot that happened in between. But for all of that to make sense, I want to backtrack a little bit. So when I started this whole journey, it was during my grad year. I was playing baseball at High Point University. I realized that I was at the end of my playing career, and I had seen guys over the years finish their playing career and be sour with how their career ended and why it ended short. But I didn't want to be that way. I wanted to take action right away. I've always believed in taking action. I've always been overlooked. So I wanted to do something meaningful right away. My playing career finished on October 29th of 2023. And 2 days later from my college apartment, November 1st, I started what is now Elite Recruits. And Elite Recruits started as a vision of helping my younger self. During my baseball career, not being the best player, but just good enough to play at the next level, but not good enough to get attention right away, I was always overlooked. So I needed to find a way to be proactive and put myself out there in order to get the opportunities that I did. And I saw how difficult recruiting was getting for a lot of guys. And it was something that I thought I did really well in putting myself out there. So I started that with the mission of helping others and doing things the right way. I'm in an industry where it gets a bad reputation for a lot of right reasons, because there's a lot of people that are not in it for helping the players, and that's something that I wanted to change. It's been 2 years now, and it feels surreal. We just crossed over 300 players placed in colleges all across the country. The reason I'm here today in Arizona is for exactly that. I'm here. I was blessed enough to work the Power Showcase again this year. For those of you who don't know what the Power Showcase is, it's one of the biggest amateur showcases in baseball at MLB stadiums, and it's something that I grew up going to as a kid. Eventually, once my playing career finished, I was fortunate enough to get an opportunity to be behind the scenes of the event. And 2 nights ago, I had the beautiful opportunity to do a speech and talk to the players and families and share my journey and share my advice. And it's been surreal. 300 players, and I've grown a very close relationship to a lot of them. A lot of them are here today, and they don't know this, but I think about them often. I'm somebody that I love what I do, and it's been evident how much we've grown in the last 2 years because of the attention to detail and putting our guys first. So, to backtrack, I started Elite Recruits November 1st with the idea of helping others, and quickly after that, it was December, I realized how fortunate I was to be in a position where I grew up training with a lot of the best players to ever play the game of baseball. And I realized what better way to help others and share their journey, right? Share their journey of adversity, how they overcame it. So in December of 2023, the idea of the One of One podcast came alive, with the idea of sharing the journey of current and future superstars, the adversity that they overcame to get to the top, and their journey of what they learned along the way. The last 2 years for me really feels like a sprint, and it's been crazy. I truly can say that I've worked every single day for the past 2 years, 7 days a week, and it doesn't even feel like work. I absolutely love it. The guests that have come on this podcast have had tons and tons of success. From the very first guest, somebody really special to me, Eli Marrero. He was like a mentor to me growing up, grew up training with him. He quickly after the podcast, he got married. He's still playing professional baseball, and he has a baby on the way. Second guest after that, one of my really good friends, Romy Gonzalez. He had made it to the big leagues when we recorded the podcast, but a week after we recorded, he was traded to the Boston Red Sox, and his career has flourished since then. I've gotten a chance to see him play in person. He might have had just one of the best years of his entire career this past season, and it's amazing seeing people that I care about that have sat in this same chair for this podcast have the success that they have. Nick Soto, one of my best friends as well. He was my trainer for a long time. He came on this podcast, and he became the University of Miami strength and conditioning coach after that. He's had a few other babies since, and I love him to death, and he's having a lot of success. Shelby Sapp, the first female I ever had on this podcast. I came across her social media. I think she had 30,000 followers at the time, and I saw the value she was bringing, the authenticity and the drive she had. Everything happens for a reason. I reached out to her in February when she had, again, 30,000 followers. She agreed to do the podcast right away, and it never came to fruition. We couldn't line dates. After I had finished recording 2 episodes, I was in Brickell, I went to get lunch, and I ran into her at a pizza shop, and right away I came up to her and her assistant Ashley at the time, and they agreed to do the podcast. We set it up quickly after that. By the time we actually recorded, she had 250,000 followers. Again, everything happens for a reason, and God's timing is always perfect. Right before she launched her academy, she's blown up since then. She was already a superstar, but now she's what I call a legend. She has over 1 million followers. She's helped thousands of girls get into sales and start their journey, and it's been surreal seeing the people that have came on this chair and the success that they continue to have. I get a lot of people all the time reaching out to be on the podcast, and I understand. I've never made a single dollar from the podcast. This is purely something I've invested thousands of dollars into as something that I really enjoy, as a passion project, you can call it. So I am very selective of who I bring onto this chair because I truly want it to be meaningful in the sense of the person that I'm bringing in sharing a meaningful journey, having that potential to be a superstar, or sharing the journey of everything that they've overcame. And the last 2 years, I feel like I've been in that same exact path, and in the sprint. Tons of challenges I've faced that on social media you may not see it. A lot of adversity that I've had to overcome. Just 2 days ago, while I was here, I was preparing my speech, as I usually do. I leave it for last minute, and I sit at a restaurant for 2 to 3 hours putting together the perfect speech to really leave a meaningful message to all the players and all the families. I get back to the hotel with about an hour to get showered and ready to go, and I go print the speech, and I realize that the speech never saved. So adversity struck at that moment, but I always put it into perspective that the problems you have in life, there's thousands of people, if not hundreds of thousands of people out there that wish those were their problems. So when I put it into perspective that way, your problems are really not that big compared to what other people are going through. So I sat down, with a migraine, I put the speech together, and again, everything happens for a reason. The speech came out even better this time. It couldn't have been any more perfect. It was shorter, it was direct to the point, and it gave the exact message that I wanted to give because I saw the impact it had on players and families and the communication that we had right after that. So the past 2 years, with all of the adversity, as you start growing a business, not to say that I have a big business by any means, but as you start growing a little bit, a lot of different people start reaching out, a lot of different opportunities start coming your way, and it's not always with your best interest in mind. So finding the balance of finding the strength to say no is something that I've always struggled with. I've always been a nice guy, but I've learned to say no to different opportunities, and not everyone out there always has your best interest in mind. So with that said, a lot of it has to do with just blocking out the noise. For people that are in their journey right now, I see a lot of my friends reach out for advice or just, wanting to get an opportunity in certain things. The reality is that in this life, nobody's coming to save you. You have to figure it out for yourself. People can definitely help you along the way, but no one's coming to save you. If you want to do something meaningful in life, you have to take action. When I finished my playing career, could have easily gone the corporate route and done something else, but I took a major risk. And I always believe in the saying, rather take the risk or lose the chance. And I couldn't see myself living my life any other way. I couldn't see myself working really hard to build somebody else's dream. I couldn't see myself not having the creative freedom that I have to do what I love. And it just so happens that I'm blessed and lucky enough that what I love to do is also impacting people in a positive way, especially the younger version of myself. And that is something that I'm blessed by God to be put in that position. As I went through my playing career, I always knew that I was going to get into business some way, somehow, someday. I never pictured myself working in baseball. I thought that when I finished the game, I wanted to completely get away from it, but God had other plans for me, and man, am I happy He did, because right now I couldn't see myself doing anything else. The text messages and the phone calls that I get from players and families with the impact that my team and I are making on their lives is something that I wouldn't trade for anything else in the world. And a lot of that is just having the priority of doing right by others, right? If you do right by others, everything else will take care of itself. There's a lot of people that try to make a quick buck and try to, do certain things to take advantage of others, but those are the people that don't stick around. My goal is to be in this industry and working in baseball for a really long time, and you have to take care of others. And that's something that my program, as much as it is recruiting and helping guys find schools, I treat it more of like a mentorship where it's not just about baseball, it's about life, and teaching them how your work and the effort you put in is going to directly correlate to the results that you get, not just in baseball, not just in recruiting, but in your life in general. So when we put those main focuses first and take care of the hard things, everything else kind of takes care of itself. When I talk to college coaches, they don't need me to tell them everything about a player's talent. They know that. They can see the video. They can evaluate talent. That's what they do for a living. But what they want to know is the character of that player. How is he as a person? How does he treat his teammates? How does he treat his family? What are his priorities? Is he disciplined? Those are the things that really matter. And if you can take care of those big things, well, you can always become a better player. You can always get bigger, faster, stronger. But who you are as a person is the most important thing. And again, that's not just for baseball, that's for life. One of the biggest lessons that I've learned up to this point, and I credit this to two people, my best friend Jordy, who shared it with me, and it came from Alex Hormozy, someone that him and I and a lot of others look up to in the world of business, is separating yourself from the outcome. What I mean by that is a lot of people only care about the result. They want to accomplish this, they want to accomplish that, and that's great and all, but if you only focus on the result, well, it's really difficult to accomplish that if you don't take care of the inputs, right? You can only focus on the effort you put in, and you have to separate yourself from the outputs, right? If you put in the effort over time, the result will take care of itself. And I feel as if in this day and age of social media, and I struggle with this myself too, is we all want direct results. We want things to happen quickly, and that's not how the world works. So I've learned the hard way that over the past 2 years, it's just about stacking days. There's not a day that goes by that I don't want the best for my players, and not every single day I wake up feeling great. It's about stacking days, and even when you don't feel you're 100%, you have to give 100% of what you do have that day. And that's something that, regardless of how I feel that day or what I have going on in my personal life, I'm talking to a player that day and a family for the first time ever, they don't care about what I have going on that day. They care about their future. So I have to be at 100% to give them the best value. Same things for the players that I already have inside my program. It doesn't matter what I'm going through. It's their future that comes first, and that's how I serve others. And if you take care of them and you always give them 100%, well, they're going to be more likely to give you 100% of their effort. And if they do that, then results really take care of themselves. One of the things that I definitely do still struggle with and working on it day by day is something that I think is one of the most important things in life. And it's this one I was shared by my mentor, Nick Neville, who's another guy that I had on the podcast last time I was here, and he's had a ton of success since we last recorded. He's amazing. I was just with him and I look up to him a lot. But he talks about sticking to your word. What you say you're going to do, sticking by that. If you put something out into the world, and he uses the example of if you say you're going, this is the one that I struggle with. If you say you're going to work out in the morning and then you wake up in the morning and you don't, well, you start losing confidence in your word because you don't stick to it. And if you don't stick to your word, how can you expect other people to trust you? That's still a battle that I'm going through, especially with the gym in the morning and eating pasta, but we're getting through it little by little. But it's the point of, if you're going to put something out into the world and share it to someone else, or more importantly, even say it to yourself, the more you stick to your word, the more you stack days, the better your outcome becomes. And if you do that consistently over time, that's how you get the results that you want. Not just focusing on the result, but focusing on the process of that specific day. And right now, I feel like I'm making a lot of progress in all the things that I want and taking a lot of action. I feel a lot of momentum right now, and I just feel extremely excited for what's ahead. The vision now is to speed things up with this podcast and continue to share the journey of other guests and bring impactful people here that have a meaningful message to share, that are either going through the journey and leveling themselves up to become something special, or people that have already made it and have gone through adversity on the way to get there, sitting here and sharing their journey for others to see. What's ahead right now? There's a lot of exciting stuff inside of Elite Recruits as well for all of our players, and just very blessed to be in the position where I get to directly impact the future of so many guys, and being put into a position where I can alter their future in the right way. That's something I take extremely serious, and I'm extremely excited for this new coming year, everything that we have working on. I want to finish this out with just a message for anyone that is still listening. I believe in you. I know that there's a lot of us that have our daily struggles. I do so have them as well myself. And life is beautiful. I 2.5 years ago, just before I started this, thought I was on top of the world, going to play Division I baseball. And lifelong dream of mine, a lot of work that I had to overcome to get there, a lot of work that was put in just to get that opportunity. And once I got there, I almost felt embarrassed. I was in so much pain at that time. I was physically injured, just struggling to get through each practice, through each day. And I knew that wasn't the best version of myself, but nobody else there knew me before, so they thought that was the version of me, and I felt like I didn't belong, right? And quickly after that, once my playing career finished, I took on this journey, and again, God has his plan for you. So if you already know that, you should have no worries in the world. Even though I don't necessarily wake up feeling great every single morning, but I quickly bounce out of that because I know that I was put on this earth for a reason. I have found my calling, I've found my mission, and even if you haven't found yours yet, every day that you stack and you do what you're supposed to do, you get closer to finding that. And it is really special when you do, because I walk through life now knowing that I have a purpose and knowing that every day I wake up is for a reason, and that's to serve others. And I couldn't be more blessed. With that said, if you haven't found your calling yet, and if you feel like you're not where you want to be yet, that's okay. But it's only okay if you're putting in the effort to get to where you want to get to, right? If not, it's not okay. And it's okay to not feel great because you're not doing the things that you're supposed to do. So let this be your calling to take action. When I started this, I had no idea what I was doing. I was a 23-year-old kid talking to Division I coaches at the highest levels, expecting them to trust, and use me for my recommendations. And at first that wasn't the case, but I quickly didn't take no for an answer. I continued, and eventually they did start listening. And once they did start listening, well, results started happening for my guys. We built an ecosystem, but none of that happens, and I don't impact the lives of 302 players as of today without taking a risk and taking action. And I feel so very blessed by God to be put in the position that I am today, and I'm excited for the future. So if you're watching this right now, thank you for staying tuned so deep into this podcast, and I'm very excited for you to follow along in this journey and what's ahead. God bless you.